Thanks for listening to this episode of Two Youths and Face Wrestling Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to catch up with a few people, chat with a few of our friends. We consider them friends. I think we've had some contentious moments with these people in the past, but we're willing to forgive and forget, right, Chris?
We want to definitely catch up, see what they're up to, and I know they had their thoughts about the controversial Shy Top 25.
Yes, or Shy 25 as well.
Which one is the official one? Now you got me all
Shy 25.
Shy 25. Let me regretfully take this back for all you YouTube watchers. Shy 25.
Shy 25. Hashtag
basically,
Shy 25.
It's a list of 25 wrestlers who, in order we thought based on the criteria and their Chicago stays and basically seeing them wrestle over and over in the promotions that we frequent. We decided to put this list out there, and there's definitely a lot of opinions about it, but it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
Shy 25 there. That looks better.
That was good. I think that, it's January 25th and we're recording this. We've talked about this. The article got a lot of love, a lot of hate. I think it stirred some discussion. I think it brought some good traffic to the site. We're going to kind of put it to bed. It'll always be on our site, twosandface.com. We're going to kind of put it to bed, I think, with this discussion. We just wanted to get a couple people more opinions on it. And there's one person who's very vocal. We're going to have him on. Whenever he's in the lobby, we can bring him in. I don't think he's joined yet, but Mr. Trevor Outlaw did not like that he was left off of, that set list. So I think that he complained so much, it only felt right to kind of have him join the podcast and have a medium where
the invitation was extended for sure.
Yeah. Invitation was extended, he's got a really young career still. He's still really, ripe, I guess you could say, in his career. And we plan to do this.
I'll give it to him. He started off hot, and he did his thing for a little bit, but injuries put him out, and he just didn't make the cut for the 25. We'll see what he has to say about that.
Yeah. Chris, how have you been though? Like otherwise, what's going on?
I've been doing okay, man. Family safe. This mandate, and I don't want to get too crazy about that, but we were supposed to take Itzel to Disney on Ice this past weekend, and because she needed to be fully vaccinated, not partial vaccinated, she needed both shots, we couldn't go. We couldn't attend. So we're going to go to Milwaukee because we were able to push the tickets out.
Okay.
But yeah, that was just one of those things. Is I guess I'm me personally, I'm for the vaccine, but with kids it's a little trickier, and especially during this time where everybody's who was not vaccinated is trying to get vaccinated, and it's just schedules just didn't line up, and she just couldn't attend. So but outside of that, man, just working and podcasting, and I think we skipped last week, and it seems like this is the 22 cadence. We're pushing out episodes every other week.
Yeah, and we can continue with that cadence. I think maybe it fits our schedules a little bit better. I think we have listeners, but they're not clamoring at the door every week. They're like, "Hey, when are you releasing?"
We have some faithful listeners. Shout out to them.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, I think so. But we schedule the podcast around our life. We don't schedule our life around the podcast. Does that make sense?
I guess so.
Did I say that wrong?
Is this our way of getting back at wrestling for not being around the last year?
No, I would never do that.
But who hasn't been around a whole lot? Is one of our guests here that's joining us, Mr. Trevor Outlaw. He's in the lobby. He's banging at the door. He likes the attention, so let's bring him in.
Let's do that. Hello.
What's up, losers? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm just kidding. I don't give a shit. Your check cleared. Your check cleared, so you can add my name to your tagline.
I figured you would buy a different shirt this time around. I mean, but you're wearing the same Jericho lookalike shirt, but
a Jericho lookalike shirt. I've been wearing leopard print for God knows how long, and that's the best you've got. You guys, like, literally, you guys just take shots at me every time, every opportunity you guys get, and none of them stick. It's like, you got to do the pasta test, right? You know, if you throw it at the wall and it doesn't stick, it's not ready yet. So take notes on that. You know,
kind of like the.
Do you guys even know how to boil water?
I think so.
No,
I got that down, but just kind of like when you mentioned like about not sticking, like the fact that your name did not stick out in that 25 list.
Yeah, we wanted to get you're very vocal about it. So I mean, I'm assuming you read it.
I read it. You guys are fucking marks. Half those people either A, barely wrestle in Chicago, or B, the other half, I've already beaten them. You guys did that to get the attention of myself and several other people who probably just have their tails between their legs. But that list is bullshit, and you know it's bullshit. And you got I can see. Look at that. I don't know if this is going to be out on video, but that shit-eating grin you have on your face right now.
I don't know. I'm just so happy to see you. I mean, we haven't talked in so long.
Yeah, we should have kept it that way. You know, I've been going fucking stir crazy at home, but honestly, I would rather be sitting in silence, staring at a wall, than talking to you right now.
How is the recovery process? Like, first of all, sorry about your injury. We don't wish injuries on anyone.
Kiss my ass. You guys were totally amongst all of the ones in the crowd saying that I deserved it and wishing that shit upon me. Boo hoo. You know what? I'm ahead of schedule and I'm doing great.
Okay.
I'm 6 weeks post-op and I'm already walking. I'm already back in the gym doing all that good shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna give anybody else any more insiders than that. Just know that I'm ahead of schedule. I mean, everybody should have anticipated that anyways, because I mean, my ACL and meniscus were torn my entire career, and I've already done all of the things that I have. I've already beaten all the people on your stupid ass list, and I'm gonna come back even better. So I don't know exactly when I'm gonna come back. You know, I was plotting maybe something for my birthday. Maybe right when I get cleared. Honestly, I'm not on anybody else's timeline but myself. There's a lot of shit not happening in wrestling. Quite frankly, I think wrestling is missing out without having me around. So
that's what we're doing our best to bring you on and keep you relevant, you know, so people don't forget about you.
Right.
I mean, I'll be fine without you guys. I wasn't really too concerned about that, but
we care about the indie scene, you know. You were doing good.
You guys don't care about shit.
You know, I know you read the criteria of the article. There was nothing about like wins and loss, like records weren't taken into account, you know, so that was not part of the criteria.
No, this was just your guys' little fanboy list. No,
I mean, I think it was a fair assessment.
Hey, you know what? I will say the only fair assessment on there was Jeff.
Jeff. So speaking of Jeff, we're gonna have him on after you. Not that we're trying to kick you out now. We're not.
I hope you treat him. I hope you treat him better than you treat me, because honestly, you guys are dicks, and the fact that I even agreed to this in the first place is just. I'm at a loss for words. You know what? I didn't want to take this interview, but I'm glad I did, because I really did want to talk to you guys about that list. It was bullshit.
Your name is technically on it. In the article.
You guys went out of your way. You guys went Shut up. You went out of your way to take time during this to talk about me not being in it. Which means you guys know that if that list had any legitimacy to it, if it wasn't some bullshit that you guys came up with when you guys were taking a few beers back, you guys would have known I would have been at the top of that list.
No, I mean it was just to recap the year. I mean, a healthy discussion. We wanted you to say your piece,
recap the year. You should that month alone. My name was everywhere. If there was snow all over this year, my piss would be covered in it.
Okay.
Does maybe the lack of maybe a lack of titles, or I mean, where can you improve on, you think, in 2022 when you come back? Where's the area of focus?
I
Are you
think there were
dropping the
parts
clown? That would
Shut
be a
up, I'm
start.
talking. I think there were parts of the year where I was still in a mindset where it was like, wait for your opportunity. But nah, you got to just take shit and make it for yourself. I'm not really too concerned about, titles and belts and, having the picture of it on my Instagram and all that jazz, because quite frankly, I don't need titles. The man makes the title, not the title makes the man. So, when somebody needs
without a title?
I mean, I'm a man whether I've got a title or not. I'm just doing my thing.
True. Yeah. I mean, another bump in the road. I mean, last time we talked to you, I think you had a sore groin area. So I mean, it's not that. That's a positive thing. So I think you should make some promos or some videos, kind of updating us on your recovery process. And like Chris said, then everyone's like, oh yeah, Trevor's still coming back, and then we can kind of build that up into some kind of comeback,
Yeah, that's a good idea. I actually have an idea as well. Why don't you take your opinion and that idea and shove it straight up your ass? How about that?
It's always a possibility, I guess. I mean,
yeah, I think that would be good.
Look into
hey,
it.
Hang on, I got a question for you real quick. Quick.
He did it again. He's gone.
Isn't that what Monix did to us too? Although Monix was not invited to that fucking podcast. But
right, and I wasn't. I think I missed out on that episode when I saw that he got in there, and I was like,
yeah,
Charlie, what's going on over there? I thought our security measures were up to date, but Monix made it through, and now we invite this guy, and
I'm not pointing fingers. I would never point fingers, Chris. Is that honestly, I think you're the heart and soul of this podcast. I've said it before. I think if compadre Chris were to, in theory, leave 2 heels in a face, I think a lot of our identity would leave. I've always said that people like you more than they like me, but you're the tech guy. So if you're gonna come at me for a security violation, I'm gonna be like, well, you should consult our tech department.
Yeah, tech department. I'll take that, but I think people just got used to seeing me, and now this new compadre Chris does not go to wrestling shows, so we're on the same boat, man. Now, if we make it another year with 2 heels in the face, that'll be something. Because people definitely want to. It's about building community, man, and I miss that. I miss that a lot, and that weighs heavily on me that I haven't been out there. But it is what it is, and I mean, regular wrestling. We always said wrestling's still online, and we can watch it and do what we came up with this list that gave the community a little bit to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor's right in a sense that first of all, don't feel bad. I mean, you should never feel bad. You have 3 children, okay?
Oh, absolutely.
3 children,
but it's still
shit gets in the way.
It's like, for example, when I was like, when I was growing older and I couldn't, go play soccer as much. Like same kind of deal where it's like, yeah, I'll watch soccer on TV. Like, by the way, the playoff games for football this weekend, they were insane.
Dude, maybe the best playoff, the best playoff football weekend. Did you watch any ever?
I watched. What was Sunday? Was it Tampa Bay?
Yeah, Tampa Bay Rams.
Yeah, and then I heard about the Packers game. That took place on Saturday. But then I started seeing all these who else better to explain this to me than you? What's the talk about wanting to get rid of overtime?
Okay, so the NFL overtime rules, they used to be that the first team to score wins.
Mm-hmm. So I remember that.
A team just had to get in the field goal range and they would kick a field goal, they would win.
They win. Mm-hmm.
And so college overtime rules are a little different than the NFL. I think if you score, then the other team gets a chance to also score. And if they don't, then you win or something like that. I think that's roughly what it is. NFLs have slightly changed where if you kick a field goal on your opening drive, then the other team gets a chance on offense to either kick a field goal or score a touchdown. If they score a touchdown, that's the second team that gets the ball, they would win the game. But if you score a touchdown on your first drive, you win the game. So because it was so back and forth, there was like 25 points scored in like the fourth quarter or something like that. There was the viewers. This is an all-time different people, different football fans like different types of games. I think this is like the game that appeals to literally like diehard football fans, to casual football fans, to just to like people that don't even like football might be entertained by this because it was just offense. So they wanted to see Josh Allen get a chance to drive down the field and score. So, well, you got to play. I get that, and I wouldn't mind a rule change at all. I wouldn't mind a rule change, but you got to play defense too. Like the Bills, I know, but stop. You got to stop them at some point. Like,
right? You know, keep it going forever.
There's three phases. There's offense, defense, and special teams. So the defense could not step up, and that's kind of like on them, you know. So.
Yeah, with soccer back in the day, they used to have this rule called. I mean, there's definitely you could have ties in a soccer game, but if you're like at playoff mode, then depending on which game, because usually when it's playoffs, depending if it's World Cup, then it's right straight playoff. There's no 2-game or whatever. It's just one game. Either you win or you lose, and you move on. But back then, I think probably the last World Cup that had it was 1998. They had a golden goal rule. Whoever scores wins, and the game ends there if you ended up going to overtime. But now they changed it where you play another 2 halves, 15-minute halves, and then at the end, like if somebody's winning, they're the winner. If not, then you go to the penalty box.
Right. I think I like golden goal better.
Golden goal was exciting, man. Yeah.
Yeah, just because it's really hard to score in soccer. A lot harder than in most sports, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean,
there's like a lot less scoring, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that was a very exciting weekend with football for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, man, World Cup this year. By the way, we're just kind of bantering because we're waiting for our next guest. So if you're sticking with us, please stick with us because we got GPA coming on. We sent them the link to join. So
he should join sometime soon. I mean, he's definitely taking advantage that he's number 1 in our list.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to him about it. We got some questions lined up. I want to hear his thoughts on the Bears as well. We hired a new general manager today. Before we get into that, so World Cup this year.
World Cup in December, I think.
It's in December. Oh,
November, December, because it's in Qatar. Qatar is extremely hot.
Dude, so why are we doing it there, dude? Why Qatar?
It's FIFA. Fucking just dirty money everywhere. That's basically what it is.
So they got paid by Qatar, you think, to then?
There's definitely some something going on there.
This is the most random country ever to do it. No offense to Qatar.
I mean, they have the money. It's a very wealthy country, but you're gonna they build all these stadiums. Stadiums I think are air conditioned, obviously because of the reason that it's extremely hot. But I think they're still for safety.
Yeah, but they had to hurt people to do it. They're like people
absolutely I mean, and that's what I guess the good-hearted people or whatnot that love soccer, but FIFA is the organization that rules this whole thing. Is like when you had this World Cup in South Africa, it was great, but you build all these stadiums, kick people out of neighborhoods, and then ultimately the stadiums are there empty. They're not being used for anything anymore.
That also sucks. Yeah,
right. What's Qatar Brazil also kind of went through that. Yeah. Okay. So I think that after Qatar, the next World Cup is split up into the 3 countries: Mexico, Canada, and the U.S.
Really?
So all games are going to be played throughout the 3 countries.
That makes a lot more sense to split it between countries.
So I think they're going to call it like North America World Cup or something like that.
Yeah, because then Qatar just maybe has to build 1 stadium, and maybe just say maybe have them get the bid, but okay, you can't host one until you have the stadium built, so they don't have to rush it and people can work normal labor
Well,
hours.
that's the thing, whether they rush it or not, like they'll be relocated no matter what. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of politics with FIFA and how they handle things. But yeah, looking forward to this World Cup, whatever it brings. But next World Cup will be split into 3 countries. Chicago's not getting a game for sure.
No. Well, I mean, where the fuck are we gonna like? Is Soldier Field just doesn't?
I mean,
they just don't. It doesn't hold any. It doesn't hold a lot of people.
Yeah, they could hold an exhibition, but not a World Cup game. Like
no.
For sure. Like Rose Bowl will get a game. The Texas Stadium, they'll get a game, and I think the final match will take place in Mexico City.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, I think that Mexico deserves that, considering their soccer history.
Yeah, I mean, last World Cup that was in Mexico, I believe '86. I wasn't even born.
Right? Didn't USA have one in like '94?
94 was US, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think final was at the Rose Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, that seems. It just seems so much better to spread it out, like resource wise. It's 8:25. We're continuing to wait on Jeffrey.
Yep.
Did you see the Bears hired a new GM today?
I did not. I know they were in the process of, but I don't know what happened today.
Yeah. The most exciting thing is that the new GM would not get hired unless he said he gets to pick the head coach. Which makes 100% sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people above the new GM are not football guys. They're business people.
Gotcha.
Our president has an accounting background. Our chairman, George McCaskey, has a ticketing background, and he's part of the family. So why would you then hire someone who you think is best to coach this team? Because our GM has like player personnel experience. He was a player. He then has scouted players.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now we don't have to force in the past, we were forcing general manager and head coach pairings together. We were they didn't have a say in each other. And usually it should start
from top to bottom, right? Yeah.
Yes. So the cool thing is the GM's like, no, like I'm hiring this head coach. Like taking ownership of it. It makes sense for it to be his responsibility. And then there's a pool, right? It might not be the most ideal, but there's a pool of head coach candidates that we've interviewed, but he gets to pick the best one in that pool. So that's the most exciting part, I think, is that like process changes like that are key, I think.
Talking about, pool of talent, I do want to call out the fact that I don't know if you saw that Sam Adonis has a Warrior Wrestling Lucha title.
Yes, we should talk about that. That's fucking sweet. So it's cool that they went that route, obviously, because of his experience.
I mean, in the Lucha department. Heavily, I mean, obviously he comes with that background of being, a big name in Mexico and kind of having that experience with the Lucha style. But with Arami's definitely holding that title for quite some time and really putting it over. Sam Adonis is kind of holding that title now. It's pretty cool, like, because we've seen his consistency within the Warrior Wrestling, promotion, basically just throughout all of their shows.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I know that Warrior Wrestling recently had a show this past weekend. I want to check it out. I want to watch that match. I think potentially we should try to ask Sam to maybe have him on the podcast in the future. So I think he's open to that, at least based on where else I've seen him.
Mm-hmm.
Super nice guy.
He's rude but he's nice.
He was on the Shy 25 list. So let me just read out while we're waiting for Jeff. It's about 8:28 right now. I'll message him. But I want to read the criteria.
Criteria. Okay, go for
it. Hopefully before we talk to Jeff. Okay. The wrestlers on this list were chosen because of the consistent work they produced in 2021. So consistent. I mean, what does what does consistency mean? Does it mean 5 matches? Does it mean 10 matches? It's a little bit just.
It was 2021, all right?
Up for debate. Yeah. These wrestlers performed for one or many of the following promotions: Zello, Pro, AAW, Freelance Wrestling, Freelance Underground, Warrior Wrestling. To be clear, there are many other great promotions in the Chicagoland area, such as Black Label Pro. Shout out to Tyler, who's running his own show.
I saw that, yeah.
We're gonna have him on. We're gonna have him on to promote that when the time comes. I think it might be June. So there are many great promotions in the Chicagoland area, such as Black Label Pro, but only 5 were considered making this list because of the 5 promotions we cover closely. The wrestlers don't need to be from or currently reside in Chicago. So there was a Chicago wrestler who came at us for that. They don't need to be Shy 25. It just means you wrestled in this area or for one of these Chicagoland promotions. Doesn't mean you need to be in Chicago. So They don't need to currently be from or currently reside. They don't need to have trained in Chicago either to have made this list. The wrestler held a title for a promotion and consistently wrestled in the promotion's big feature matches in 2021. They were considered higher on the list. Tag teams can be included, and they will take up 1 spot as a team. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And actually, we have Mr. GPA in the lobby.
All right, let's bring him in.
Let's bring him in.
He lives.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
Not too bad. It's kind of a slow time just for a number of reasons, but otherwise things are going pretty well.
Nice. Well, I'm glad we can maybe fill one of your nights with something wrestling related.
Yeah. It's a nice change of pace.
Yeah. Chris, you want to clap it up? Congrats on being number 1. And we don't say that. Have you seen? Reminded me of Heavyweights, where he's like, get on the scale. I don't know if you've seen that. You're a '90s kid, I'm sure. And although albeit we're not PWI, we never will be. Albeit the list had a lot of thought put into it. It had a specific criteria. I think you wholeheartedly met that criteria because of different promotions that you wrestled for and held their main title, and we're always in a very, very relevant match to the top of that card. You had your hand in 3 of those 5 promotions that we looked at. So just congrats to you. I don't know. What were your thoughts on it, on the list?
It was cool. It was nice to hear. Because it's just sort of like the nature of wrestling today, where you're never quite sure who's paying attention to what you're doing. Okay. It feels like the news cycle turns over literally every 24 hours. So you can have the greatest match anyone's ever seen, and then the next day a new match gets announced and nobody remembers what happened the night before. So it's like, it's tough to know. It's tough to know if the totality of your work is being appreciated. So it was nice to see that, at least if nobody else, I have you guys who are, paying attention to the things that I'm doing.
Yeah. I told Chris, I mean, there's some stuff I think we'll never forgive you for some stuff that's happened in your career, but I don't feel like we're meeting on hostile terms, for the first time in a bit. So, we don't have anything really mean to say. And I think that's good. Maybe we're turning over a new leaf with our relationship.
Well, I mean, let's not go nuts. I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could probably say some mean things, but it's nice to change from the usual course every now and then. And I'll accept
not at all.
Yeah, I won't expect it to be a trend or anything, but I'll take it for today.
Oh, that's great. I don't want to transition into we're not this is a terrible transition because we just said we weren't gonna sling any mud. But the what happened with that Calvin Tankman match? I mean, I think I was like taking a bite of my pizza and then it was over. I don't know. I don't know.
That's we're still filing some paperwork to make sure that everything is on the up and up. I don't know if the referee was licensed that night. I don't know. if maybe the I don't know, Tankman signed the appropriate paperwork. So I mean, we're still looking into some things regarding that match. But it was an aberration. It was just a fluke. It was nothing. So I wouldn't read too much into that. It's still being looked over. So no reason to really dwell on that.
Okay, cool.
Sounds like turn the page. We can talk about the Zello Pro title run. I mean, I believe you acquired the title in that ladder match, right?
Yeah, that was in I want to say June or July. It was sometime.
Yeah, early summer. Sure, making the drive out there. And you've been holding on to that title. I mean, I know there's I think the last match that I actually got to see live was you and Laney against it was a tag match against
Jordan and
Gresham.
And
Gresham, yeah. And I mean, there's something there, like with you and Laney tagging, like that kind of like started. Charlie and I started fantasy booking a little bit. There's some storylines to be had there, but what's your experience? What's been your experience like as the Zello champion?
It's been interesting because like I feel my highest profile matches are happening at Zello, but I'm also not quite sure it's getting the highest percentage of the audience. Like I feel like freelance shows get a ton of people, the underground shows get a good amount of people, and I feel like Zello is still kind of in the developmental stages when it comes to like national attention, let's say.
Okay.
We have a decent following in the Chicagoland area. But one of the unique things about Zello is that they don't really have like one solid home base. There's some shows in Chicago, a lot of shows in Milwaukee. We even went out to Nebraska and like Kansas City, and so they're really trying to sort of make a footprint all over the place as opposed to just isolating themselves in Chicago. So it's like I think the matches that I've had for Zello have been my favorites of the year. But it's one of those where it's like that kind of goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, where it's like I don't know that many people have seen those matches because I feel like Zello is kind of still on the come up as opposed to being an established name like a Warrior or a Freelance. So it's definitely it's always a huge accomplishment to win any company's title, and this is I was the inaugural men's champion for Zello, which is really cool. So,
right.
So things like that are really rewarding, but there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of establishing Zello to a wider audience.
Okay, cool. And I think that's fair. I think I want to know, like, hear your thoughts on your tag matches with Laney. I just think that's interesting because we were kind of talking about it too at the end of that Monix show. Fuck that guy. Where it was I don't know kind of who started this trend. It still seems to be a relevant trend. But the couples, right, tagging. And that's still going on. A match happened at Warrior recently. It was Kylie and Isaiah, I believe, against two other people. So, and you are obviously got the wrestle Gresham and Jordan, two people who made it really high on the Shy 25 list. You made it higher, of course. Congrats. But talk to me about tagging with Laney. Is the process different, or just like how's that experience been? Because I think that's an interesting concept of tagging with your significant other.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We've actually only had the one official match.
Okay.
We've kind of become more involved in each other's situations and different.
Yeah, your feuds.
Yeah, but in terms of official matches, we've only had that one. But yeah, that's kind of something I've been trying to push for this year. Is because I don't know, it's just kind of coincidence. There's just been so many like publicized couples in wrestling, just through happenstance or whatever. There's so many couples now on the independents and in companies that allow their talent to tour the independents also. So I feel like there's something there. Whether it's I know there's a company or some people or whatever out east who are planning on doing like an all couples show. I think later in the spring or summer or something. And
cool.
So yeah, I feel like there's definitely something there, and it's got an interesting sort of crossover appeal because if you're not particularly a fan of this company or that company. I think everybody can appreciate like two couples fighting it out. Like there's something that's not just limited to wrestling there. I think that's kind of a broader appeal. So yeah, I think that there's something there. I don't know quite how to capitalize on it, but I know me and Lainey have designs on mixing it up with some of the more prominent teams, the Pretty Propers and the Jordan and Gresham situation's not resolved yet. So there's a lot that we can do. It's just kind of a matter of finding where and how to do it.
Cool. Yeah, and I think it's an interesting concept. Yeah, if that tournament happens, that couples tournament happens, and you're involved in it, obviously let us know. We'll definitely put the word out because I think that's just an interesting idea. And speaking of sports-wise, I know you always tweet about sports. What the Bears hire, it's very fresh. This happened today. It took up like don't tell my boss, but it took up like maybe an hour of me checking Twitter throughout the whole day combined. Maybe an hour and a half. We'll see. But like, what are your initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I don't have a ton of like knowledge of GMs and like or even GM candidates and stuff. So like I'm hearing good things about the guy that we hired. So, I'll have to listen to, my radio shows and podcasts and kind of see what the general temperature is on the whole thing. But the early reviews that I'm hearing are definitely positive. So, and I mean, for God's sake, how can we get worse than Pace for the last decade or however long he was here? So, I'm not, I'm cautiously optimistic because it is the Bears. It's still the McCaskies. So like you can only be so optimistic, but the early read is positive. So, we'll see what happens from there. Hopefully they give him the chance to hire his own coach and they don't just bestow one on him like they did to the last guy.
Well, the pulse I'm hearing on Twitter is that he wouldn't take the job unless he got to pick his own coach. So I'm like, I'm very confident that that's happening, which is refreshing. Yeah,
and it's kind of common sense too. Like you don't want to just be like told on the first day, all right, and you maybe not like this guy, but he's yours. Figure it out. Like that's run a business. So hopefully, even though it's not their choice, they're being forced to do the smart things.
Yeah, no, it's ironic because you use the phrase "run a business," and then there are business people. They are business people. Like George is a business person. He's not a owner of a football team, but he is owning you know what I mean? Like he's a better business person than he is like a chairman of an organization that should pick the right coaches and players. So it's just like,
It's like, and for some reason they just won't concede like all the football decisions to football people. Like they still have to have their fingerprints on everything, and they still have to be involved, even though admittedly it's not their field of expertise. But I don't know. We've been telling that story for my whole life, and probably the lives of several generations before me. So oh well.
And I think I'm going to cut myself off there because I feel like I could do a whole podcast on it, but I won't. And this is about you, Jeff. It's about your number one ranking. You can show your kids in the future, even if you don't have kids, your nephews, your nieces. Hey, look, I made a list here.
And you know what I just realized, Charlie? So at number 2 we have Matt Fitchett, and I remember when I went to that Rampage show here in Chicago, GPA and Matt Fitchett were a team.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
For a dark match, right?
Yeah. There was. I don't quite know why they paired us up. I mean, especially with Fitchett being an established tag guy with Davey Vega, but it just sort of worked out that way. We both showed up, and because we actually rode out together to the show. He lives way out in like the St. Louis area or something, but he got contacted for that show, so he drove up, met up with me and Lainey, and we all drove out together. And got there and realized, I guess we're a team tonight. So, let's try to figure something out.
That's sweet. Yeah. And things just seem to happen like that. I think that's ironic. I want to talk about Lainey's ranking, and then Lainey came in at 11. Now, I think when you consider every single person that has wrestled consistently in this area or for one of these 5 promotions, I would still consider Zello a Chicagoland promotion, but you're right. They are kind of all over the place. not in a bad way. They're just that's how they operate, and that's fine. Laney at 11, you think that's fair, or would you put her above anyone else on this? I mean, Thunder Rosa was 10. That might have been a little bit on purpose with me because I still kind of like that feud. And then Fred Yehai was 12, so she was in between them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and admit I have a little bit of bias here, but I feel she could easily be top 10, top 5. I mean, just like the body of work that she put out over the past year is by far the best work that she's done. And I think that you can hold it up against really almost anybody, whether it's strictly in Chicago or on the independents. Like, personally, I don't understand how she's not, fielding offers from everybody that's throwing contracts around. Like, to me, she's just ready. She's got the look, she's got the character, she's got the marketability, she's got the in-ring ability. Like, to me, everything is there. And obviously we're continuing to work on things all the time and trying to get her as polished as possible. But yeah, I mean, just because she was in there with, she had great matches with women, with men. She was in scrambles and tags and triple threats and all kinds of things. And I feel like she was excelling in every environment that she was put in. So yeah, I mean, 11 is definitely fair, but to me, she could easily be top 5 also.
Yeah, she does. You make a great point. In fairness, I feel like she gets a lot of different stuff thrown at her, like a lot of different match types, men and women. She's held a title, multiple titles. So yeah, I feel like she's putting in the work for sure. So that's I think that's a fair assessment. Maybe I should have put her a little higher. We're gonna review the tape and get better. That's what I like to say. So I've been saying to everything in my life. Yeah, we're gonna review the tape and get better. So, Jeff, it's been great to have you on. Do you have any? I want to know 2022. Is there anything are you just taking it day by day? Or is there anything you want to achieve in this year specifically?
I mean, it's pretty similar to last year. Like, I'm kind of at a point in my career, and also just kind of with where the world is and everything. I want to be pretty selective about what I do. Like, I'm not just gonna, and I don't say this for everybody, because there are certain wrestlers at certain points in their career who need to be going out and doing as much as they can, doing every possible show, getting as much experience as they can. But I feel like, 'cause this is going to be year 12 for me, so like I'm at a point where I just really want to be doing high quality stuff. It doesn't have to be weekly or daily or anything like that, but it's like whatever I do end up doing, I want it to be as important and as far reaching as possible. And I feel like I did that last year, because almost every match that I had was noteworthy in one way or another. They were a lot of title matches, a lot of like programs and feuds and things. And I was proud of, like, even though I didn't wrestle a ton, like I was wrestling in very high quality situations. So that's what I want to continue doing in 2022. Even if you don't see me out there week after week, when you do see me, it's going to be something that interests you and something that you want to see what happens and then see what happens after that. So yeah, it's mostly just about, I would say, quality over quantity at this point. And there's some things in the works. I can't confirm anything as of yet for 2022, but honestly, it was supposed to have started already. Like, I was supposed to have faced Alex Shelley by now, but pandemic situation put that on hold. Got Davey Richards scheduled for February. Hopefully everything comes together there, but that's kind of wait and see. And then like I said, we've got something else sort of cooking up. I'm pretty sure I'll have another match announcement for February, but gotta work some things out, finalize a few things. But I think once those details get hammered out, it'll be one of the more significant bookings that I've had in a while. So yeah, we've got some oars in the water for 2022, and it should be interesting.
That's awesome. Those are huge names and people you've never wrestled before, and I'm sure you can learn a ton from them. Like I said, we'll never forgive you for some stuff, but I think right now, Chris and I can confidently say that we wish you the best this year, and we probably will still boo you when you're in the ring, just because you wrestle a lot of the people we like. But I think there's a part of us that wants you to succeed, so we wish you the best.
Well, I mean, there's no accounting for taste when it comes to you guys, but I'm glad at least in this situation, you were able to, acknowledge and appreciate, what I bring to the table. And I think that hopefully I'll just force you guys to do that again next year or this year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a mutual level of respect is what this conversation is.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
Great. Before you go on, should people follow you on Twitter, right? I think that's your main thing.
Yeah, that's at GPA Thinks on Twitter. I'm also GPA IG on Instagram.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Jeff. We appreciate and respect you.
Well, you're right to do so. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
I mean, I think we were respectful, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
you said it right at the end. Mutual respect on that one. I mean,
yeah,
we can appreciate, what he's done, what he's been doing, and we'll see what this year brings for GPA. But I mean, as far as I know, forever and always until he changes my mind, we still, hashtag beat up GPA.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll still use that hashtag, but yeah, and I think we can finally put this past year's Shy 25 to rest. I think I appreciate you allowing me to run with this idea. Obviously, you had your say in the list, of course. Appreciate the this gives us a little bit of creative flexibility. I like to do that. I put some thought into it. It's not that I just threw this list together.
Right, but I think you left it with enough room for people to have an opinion, right? Like, Jeff making a case of well, Laney could be in the top 5. Like, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, when we talked to the guys at the Wrestling Familia at the end of the year, like you gave them a preview into what the list was going to look like, and everybody had their opinion with some good points. So I think that's why this list kind of works. It gives people something to talk about and share opinions. When otherwise we would just keep cheering on for the same people and not making that conversation.
Yeah. No, I think you said it really well. So the article will always be on twosandface.com, but yeah, we probably won't be pushing it out anymore unless someone asks. And I think we just kind of move on and talk about some upcoming shows that are happening. Like there's an upcoming Warrior show. I don't have the date on me. Don't have the date on me for that. But hopefully, they can all go on as planned. That's the hope. But it's not something we can control.
The upcoming Warrior Wrestling show is Warrior 19 shows.
Damn.
Saturday, February 12th at Cicero Stadium. So that's not a small venue. I mean, they've been increasing their venues. So, over the past couple of shows. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how they perform at Cicero. I mean, and again, like it's a Warrior show. They never disappoint. Bandito's doing this, he's coming back. I know they're bringing the Briscoes against the Workhorsemen, tag teaming again in a while.
That's awesome.
Warhorse versus Dalton Castle. Dalton Castle is somebody that I hadn't heard much of in the recent, year and a half. But, I'm sure he was doing this thing, I think, in ROH.
Mm-hmm.
Santana's going against Speedball Mike Bailey.
Okay. He wrestles in Japan a lot. I know that.
Lince Dorado, dude, against Sam Adonis.
Warrior's a full-blown lucha promotion, basically. They got the lucha on lock.
And they're going to Cicero, so I'm sure that people are down for that. And then you have a fatal 4-way with Zane, Reed, Gringo Loco, and Blake Christian. So
wow,
Gringo Loco, insane.
There were some crazy lucha spots I saw from the GCW Hammerstein show this past weekend, and Gringo was involved in that. So someone's going to flip. If you don't see what is the over/under on flips in this show, like 16 and a half flips?
I have no idea. I mean, again, you mentioned Bandito. He's going against Dante Martin.
Okay.
So that alone also is going to be. It's going to be crazy.
It seems very lucha heavy.
Yeah.
They usually go more buffet, but this seems very lucha heavy-ish. That's not bad, and I think the crowd in Cicero will probably like that a lot.
Right. They know their audience. I mean, I'm waiting for them to announce Thunder Rosa. I don't think she's been announced for that show.
Okay. That would sell tickets, I'm sure.
But yeah, I mean, everybody's doing pretty well in that card. So should bring people in. I'm not even gonna say that I'll be there because it'll be last minute call. Not even gonna hype myself over it. I'm
It's always
excited just to
available
see the
on demand,
matches.
man.
What was
On
that?
demand, the digital on demand is always there. You
That
know,
yeah,
you don't
that's
have to.
right.
You can support in other ways. You know, we supported GPA today, something we don't really do. But hey,
That's
we
right.
did it digitally. Yeah.
Let's see. And so far as it stands, Zello Pros also, having their
Yes.
show on the 13th. So Warriors on the 12th. Uh, Zello will be on the 13th in Lombard, Illinois. I don't think I've been out there.
City of Lompton.
The show is called Violent Valentines.
Yes.
I think this is where GPA's scheduled to go against David Richards, right?
Right. It is. It is.
Yeah.
Kylie's on that show. Jordan Grace on that show. Laney Lux on that show. Laney and Jordan are wrestling each other. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it should be good. I mean, we'll keep definitely an eye on that.
Yeah, Jeff has a tweet. In 2010, my rookie year, I was regularly going to ROH shows where Davey was delivering classics. In 2012, I got to train under Davey while he was ROH champion. A decade later, we meet to decide who walks out Zello champion. Work until your idols become your rivals.
Look at that.
That's sweet. He didn't even mention that. He's holding back on us. GPA is a great follow on Twitter, whether you like or love him or hate him. I'll say that.
There we go. You can always follow him at hashtag put up GPA when you follow him, but you can follow him at GPA Thinks.
GPA Thinks. And I think that's our show.
Yeah, that's a wrap. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and YouTube as well. I mean, this whole episode will be on YouTube as well. You can get to see, GPA, and you get to see Trevor and his Cheetah print shirt. All content can be found at 2 Heels and a Face, at number 2 Heels and a Face. You can check out that Shy 25 article at 2heelsandaface.com. Again, same thing, number 2 heelsandaface.com. Charlie, any final thoughts on this episode?
No. Yeah, I mean, you use the hashtag BeatUpGPA. That gets them more pub, whether you love them or hate them. And
don't forget to, hashtag, was it Team Chico? Push Chico?
Viva La Chico.
Where is Chico? Viva La Chico. Where is Chico?
Yeah.
Keep up with Chico. Let me make that right quick so we can put that and fix that. I think that Team Chico was a leftover from a previous episode. But hashtag Viva La Chico.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
support
right.
him as well.
Thanks.
And all right, I think that's it.